Hi, my name is Fred McCormick, and I'm going to do a brief overview of creating a work order. And then I will make a second video that goes through it in detail, showing all the different possible functions. But if I did the detail one, it's just too much in one shot. So we'll just start by, we're going to create an order, and that will be number 4 here, enter quick shipping. And by creating an order here, when you charge out a part, it immediately decrements quantity on hand, even though the job may or may not be complete yet. So let's get started. I'm going to do a number 4. Default ship date is going to default to today's date. Store number is whose inventory are we taking this out of? So if you had store number 10, store number 20, you would put it in here, and then when you charge out parts, it removes it from that store's inventory, not the main branch. So I'm going to hit return, and it's going to assign a number, defaults to today's date, and I'm going to do question mark AMERICA, and I'm looking for a particular customer, and that's number 5 here, which is America's service line. See that? So I just did a question mark in America, and it got me right down to that. So I'm going to do number 5, and it pulls up that customer. And then if this customer has ever been in the shop before, then the units that they have by serial number are already on file. So by doing a question mark space, it opens up a window and shows any unit that that customer has ever owned that's come through your shop. So I'm going to do number 11. And one other thing too, when we do this, like this big serial number here, it's on the unit that's way up on the truck. So once you sell a system, it's important to add the unit, and the truck usually has a sticker that shows that customer's ID number so they can identify it. So when you're looking for a customer, you look for that customer's ID number, and that way you don't have to climb up there and get the serial number. So I'm going to pick number 11. And the last time this was in the shop was July 7th of 2010, and they spent 69 bucks. Okay, their hour meter, there's 2 different things here. One of them is the run meter, which is how many hours has that engine run? 24 or 30. Okay, the on meter is the back end of that semi. How many hours have we maintained a temperature control? And that's completely different than the run meter, which is the compressor and the engine. The on meter is how long has it been temperature controlling, and if it's a real efficient unit, it should be double the number of the run meter. But in this case, I'm just going to put 3250 because I don't have a clue, and this is all about a demo. Okay, customers, PO or authorization, and sometimes when they do a I forgot the name of it, but there's an authorization credit card that they do. You put in the authorization number here. The salesman, we have it defaulting to whatever's on the customer master, but you can override it. And if you have salespeople that bring you a new customer, we can track their sales, and it defaults there. Territory, I'm going to leave this blank right now, and you'll see why when I go to print an invoice. But what we use territory for is what product line are you handling? Like, are we doing Thermo King? Are we doing carrier? Are we doing truck trailer repair? Those kinds of things. And that way, when you handle that product line, we can break down both parts and service and all kinds of revenue accounts that specify to that product line, and it lets you know where you stand. But I'm going to leave this blank for right now. When we go to print this, it's going to force the issue. You cannot get by without choosing a territory. This is comments, even though the phone number overlapped that a little bit. Terms default to whatever is on the customer master. Was the unit serviced? That just triggers a date on the unit master, so that we can say 6 months from now we want to send them some kind of a notice that says, hey, bring it in for service. Was this warranty? Again, it's just something that we keep track of customer pay dollars on every unit versus warranty dollars. So if you hit return, it defaults to no. Bill shop supplies. Shop supplies automatically defaults to yes, and it should be. That's a huge number at year end, and on a good busy shop, it's about $90,000. We typically set up the default to be 6% of both parts and labor, not to exceed $50. Bill EPA is 1.5% of labor, and that's basically to charge for a disposal fee. The tax code is based on what's in the customer master. One thing I want to point out is we have the ability to override it here, but when you enter a new customer from the screen, and I'll show you that in the detailed video, we don't allow the service writer to choose net terms or whether they're taxable or not, because accounting needs to have that paperwork on file. Default tax rate for that branch. In a lot of states, they have different sales tax rates for different territories. Okay, where it says addendum here, I'm going to answer yes. And this is, what are they bringing in for repair for? And you just say unit not blowing cold. It's that simple. Okay, at this point, what we've done is we have opened up a repair order, but we don't have any parts or labor charged out against it. But really what we want to do is produce a work ticket so that you can put it on a clipboard, and when the mechanic comes up to the parts department, he has something to give to the parts guy and say, hey, charge out these parts. So the way we do that is I'm just going to hit return here at the bottom, and instead of doing a P, we do a T. And a T does not close out the ticket, but it produces a work order and the actual paperwork for it to go through the shop. So give me a second while that's produced. Okay, and if you have a barcode scanner, when the mechanic comes up, they can just hit that and it just pulls up the work order on the screen. You'll note that we have the description here for what it was brought in for, what was a complaint, and we wanted to make this not look like an invoice, so it can't be used as one. So we closed out the invoice number and the invoice date, so there's no moonlighting. Okay, and we have your serial number, you got your hour meter, etc., etc. And if there's no parts guy at night, they can handwrite the part numbers on here so they can be charged out after the fact. And typically what I tell parts people to do is, once you've charged a part on the work order, take a highlighter and just draw across that line. That way they know that part's been charged out. But if they did charge it out, it would be on the order. So if you want to print this, you basically click on print, and well, we're not going to do that, but in any case, you would print that out to a printer and you're good to go. So let me close this out.